Welcome to our moon week. In light of the lunar eclipse that just passed, we will be decoding all 6 episodes of Moon Knight. So stay tuned.
Now that cons you all stoned up, Layla and Mark get the old brilliant idea that when they reach Harold, it should be Mark, not Steven, to deal with them. So we gonna act like Steven didn't just sky shift them into the location just hours ago? This is quite significant because now it shows how little faith that not only Mark has in Steven, but also Layla. Steven is really starting to come into himself as he lets both of them know, I ain't going nowhere. Good for you, Steven. Not only that, since Mark's out here making deals to banish him again, Steven lets Layla know about the deal that Mark agreed to disappear for good once Harold taken care of. What?
Bruh.
You don't say. Well, this is news for Layla, and she wants to know how such an important decision was made without her knowledge. So Steven's on one and tells her basically, what else is new? This ain't the first time he done disappeared on you. After this little exchange, Layla chooses up with Steven. This sign of betrayal signifies how Layla, her level of comfort has actually increased with Steven, and also how she desires a level of stability in her life, and she feels Steven provides that far more than Mark. Mark once again undermines Steven's abilities and pleads for him to relinquish the body. Steven reminds Mark that if he done dealt with all these situations before, then so has he. It's the same body. Okay, Steven, I see you. This is so significant as it shows this is the first time Steven is seeing him and Mark as one. Kind of brings a whole new meaning to me, myself, and I. Mark reminds him he's not alone. Steven's not trying to hit. He tells him, I know I ain't alone. I have Layla.
Bruh.
Ouch. Frustrated, Mark presses Steven. Yo, you in love with my wife? As Steven walks away from Mark's reflection. This is key because you start seeing Steven feeling himself, sticking his chest out a little, gaining a high level of confidence. But you also see Mark appear to not wanting to see Steven hurt. Or is it ultimately Layla Mark is worried about? You decide.
I really like when they find the tomb because we are greeted with some really good artifacts. First, we see the Sphinx that guards the tomb. Sphinx were used in ancient Egypt to guard pyramids, tombs, or temples. We then see another ancient Egyptian goddess, Baz, that I will mention briefly as I could talk about her the whole video. Baz is represented by a lioness or a cat. She is the goddess of protection, fertility, and childbirth. She is said to protect the home from evil spirits. We are then introduced to the Eye of Horus, or the all-seeing eye. The Eye of Horus is a symbol of protection for the living and the dead. It symbolizes restoration, health, sacrifice, and power. Each shape that creates the Eye of Horus represents one of the 6 senses: smell, hearing, sight, thought, taste, and touch. Layla and Steven soon find out that Harold is not the only person they are on the lookout for. As they enter a room in the tomb, they run into a Heka tomb mummy. Layla and Steven split up with the Heka mummy, following Layla, where she is victorious in defeating the mummy. Another big part of this episode is Layla's father. I feel that he is brought up a lot, and in the scene after Layla defeats the Heka, she runs into Harold, where we learn that Mark knows more about Layla's father's death than he leads on. Yes, Harold, dropping bangers at the perfect time. Steven finds Ahmed's Ushabti in none other than Alexander the Great. I mean, how surprising is that? Alexander the Great is depicted as different than we would normally see him. I mean, we normally see him a little whitewashed. Steven is forced to reach into the throat of Alexander the Great to retrieve the Ushabti. You may ask, why the throat? Well, they said Alexander the Great was the voice of Ahmed. To dive a little deeper, the throat is also the location of the throat chakra. The throat chakra is a force of expression that allows you to speak your internal truth externally. A blocked throat chakra will make it very hard to speak your truth. I mean, it makes sense. The other gods banished Ammit and did not want her to speak her truth. Being that Alexander the Great was her voice, Horus being there can symbolize a blocked throat chakra.
As Steven on his big dog status, he look around and we find old Layla all google-eyed over there. So she lay all her chips on the table. She goes in for a kiss on Steven and he curves her. Steven gets to feeling all regretful, tells Layla, Mark only left, pushed you away to protect you from Kanju, who had targeted you as the next avatar for him. Steven feels that she deserves to know, which Layla replies, she doesn't need protection, just honesty, but that's more of a Steven thing than a Mark thing. Layla one of them ones who knows what she wants, so she put that pressure on him and eventually get that kiss. It's getting a little spicy around here. So now Steven, he like, Mark who? So Mark reminds him. He takes control of his hand and clocks him in the face. Layla is clearly feeling the innocence of Steven, and this sign of jealousy Mark displays gives us more insight as that his main objective could possibly be protecting Layla.
Next, we get the confrontation between Layla and Mark. This confrontation happens at the wrong time, but we do find out that Mark does know how her father was killed. Better yet, he was there. This causes friction between them, leaving them vulnerable for attack. Mark is killed by Harrow and Ammit's Ushabti is stolen. But is Mark really dead? Mark, Steven, and his goldfish, did you catch that? Is now in a psychiatric hospital. Why a psychiatric hospital? Is it to play on his suffering with dissociative identity disorder? What's even weirder is that Harrow is there as his therapist. We also get a little visit from Layla. I mean, Mark is still trying to figure out what's going on, but the clues are actually in plain sight. He just has to remember who he is. An important goddess makes an appearance in the ending of this episode. Taweret. I mean, she is depicted with the face of a hippopotamus. And did you see her hair? If you know, you know. Taweret is the protector of women, children, fertility, and childbirth. Why would she be in a psychiatric ward though? Well, Taweret does not only protect the living, but also the dead. It is said that when someone is newly dead, they are as weak as when they are first born. So, this can hint that Mark and Steven may be really dead.
Hope you enjoyed. Comment below on your thoughts of this edition of Decoded. Let us know what we missed. What did you get from it? Did y'all do some decoding? As always, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we upload. Follow us in the community too, because we will be offering updates, more exclusive interactions, polls, things of that nature. Stay tuned for the next episode and come back so we can vibe on it.